Hey, we are live. I'm so excited to be back for this. We're doing the once a month workshop. Today, we're going to be going through all the good stuff when it comes to helping job seekers, the top 5 priorities for job seekers to prepare and schedule interviews. So, we are going to get started. And again, job seekers could be looking for W 2, they could be looking for clients. Um, they're job seeking in one way or another. So if you have any questions throughout the process, let me know, and I'm happy to answer any questions. Quick little introduction before we get started, and then I'll share my screen. As some of you may know, I'm Jenna Vargas, owner of the Vargas Company LLC, based here in Tampa, Florida. I'm a career transition and monetization expert and personal branding consultant as well. So, really helping you optimize your skills and talents and really scaling your genius. And really, how do we position you as a thought leader and articulate that appropriately? So, let me share with you. I guess I'll go into presenter view and see if you can see my screen. Let me see, actually. We have a lot of good stuff, very tactful and actionable for you today. So I'm actually going to add this to StreamYard. This makes life super easy. If you have any questions, you can drop them in the comments. This just makes it super easy for us to view in the while we're doing this. Let me see here. Okay. All right, so I'm going to stop that and then I'm going to present my slides. All right. While it's uploading here, this just makes life easy. So let's take a look if we have any comments. Not yet. Okay. And we'll make it a little bit bigger. There we go. All right. So this is such an important topic. A lot of people come to me for like, how do I prepare for my interviews or my meetings to be able to land my next opportunity or my next client? So we're going to go through this today. If you have any questions, pop them in. Happy to answer them for you. This is kind of a short and sweet workshop to kind of get right into it, very actionable, tactful, resourceful information. So this is a rundown of today's workshop, what we're going to be going through, and I'll open up for any Q&A towards the end. Hey there, thanks for joining. All right, quick introduction again. I'm Jenna Vargas, owner of the Vargas Company here based in Tampa, Florida, sunny Tampa, Florida. I think we're at like 80 degrees today. And happy International Women's Day. I forgot to start there. I'm a mom of 3, soon to be 4. So I'm currently, 26 weeks pregnant. Time is flying. I think this is the fastest pregnancy to date. And I'm an author, a career transition coach, and personal branding expert. I've been in the HR talent acquisition recruiting world for over 15 years. And over the years, I have continued to gravitate to more of a creative business that's very strategic and rewarding. And I love seeing people, the transformation. So whether that's transformation with monetizing your skills and talents or monetization and creating wealth for, the next generation and for building your legacy. I just love the connection and that theme of not only monetization, but also wealth and well-being. So it's very much like nurturing the whole self, really starting and focusing on how do we monetize and scale your zone of genius, right? And how do we position you as a thought leader? So I'm passionate about helping people advance, pivot, or transition their careers. So I've worked with executives to entrepreneurs and experts to really help them reflect on where they're going, why, and how to get there step by step. So really simplifying that process and creating some sort of like a framework and blueprint forward. Many of my clients have been able to increase their opportunities, make more money. They really are standing out and getting more interviews in the front end, and then knowing their numbers and demanding a higher salary on the back end or hourly, depending on their employment status. A lot of people also come to me for remote or hybrid work. So that's really helpful to know as well in case you are looking for more flexibility, work-life harmony. Many of us are. So I respect it and I'm right there with you. All right. Quick little rundown. In 2022, I did complete my doctoral program in HR management. So again, my goal here today and when I show up and share content is all about serving others, serving you while maximizing my full potential. I found in corporate, unfortunately, I did not get to experience that in some of my roles. It felt very monotonous. I wasn't challenged. I felt like underutilized and undervalued. So I want to provide resources for you specifically to help transform your life as it has for mine. So I kind of go through some experiences or challenges you might be going through, whether it's finances, family, spirituality, social, career, growth, relationships, and health, and how the relief of really monetizing your skills and your talents is going to really help alleviate some of these other core areas. This is called like the whole life or the whole wheel. What is this called? The wheel of life. I'm pregnant and my mind is sometimes not all here. So that's a quick little introduction. And career, and whether you're, again, looking for a corporate role and you're interviewing like what we're going through today, or you are independent or looking to branch out on your own as a consultant, etc., this is going to be valuable because it's being prepared for those meetings and conversations to really add value and be a thought leader in the process. All right. So interviews, the 5 core areas. So I start with networking. So why is networking important? And I give you kind of the breakdown step by step. We should be reaching out, connecting with recruiters, company team members that you're interested in working with, and employee referrals. Employee referrals is hands down one of the best ways to get your foot in the door into the short stack to be able to be considered for interviews and phone screens, etc. So networking is one of the most effective job search strategies and is essential when scheduling job interviews. It's important to take the initiative in reaching out to those contacts, planting those relationship seeds, as I like to say, who can act as job references and lead to more job interviews. So after interviewing, you want to make sure you're following up and sending those thank yous to those referrals. Definitely going to help you get on the short stack. Remember, recruiters literally have 7 to 10 seconds to look at the resume. They also have a quota of a time to fill, typically 45 to 60 days for easy standard positions, right? So your job is to get on the short stack, have those conversations. If you're in transition, you have a little more time than others to have those, chats, but I would recommend making like an automated Calendly link, getting it over to your contact through connections on LinkedIn. Happy to do another workshop and kind of show you how to do that. But that is what's going to help lead you to interview, kind of lining up interviews, scheduling interviews, and then preparing for interviews. As far as visibility, I was just talking to another client. In today's digital marketing environment, it's never been more important for companies and individuals to use marketing visibility and thought leadership. So some easy ways that I was explaining to another client is maybe looking at like ChatGPT to kind of help with some repurposed or really developing that framework so you can get it out more quickly versus you having to type and spending all this time like applying for positions and also putting out marketing content. Creating your own authentic brand. So personal branding is so critical here, and really gaining attention in the world of marketing. So thinking of this candidate experience or executive experience as, let's say it's 6 to 8 steps, you really want to make sure that we're showing up in the best light possible. Personal branding is all about communicating and simplifying that communication and using your personal brand as like your marketing material. So you are literally campaigning to get those interviews and showing up for visibility. So really that authentic brand is so critical, and really connecting with others. So some examples of industry content could be audibles or audio blogs, courses, podcasts, keynotes, and videos. You can also use repurpose. So that way you're not always creating it organically from ground zero, but maybe there's some industry thought leaders and you share what they have, and maybe you tag somebody. Anytime that you can tag people is best. And that way industry peers and recruiters and hiring managers start to see your name pop up as a thought leader, and then they'll keep you in mind when they have opportunities that open up. So when we get up to starting to schedule those interviews, again, you could use Calendly, or there's some other ones. It's like scheduling automation. It just makes your life so much easier. There are free accounts that you could totally use. But scheduling those interviews and preparing job seekers for those job interviews is such an essential part of the process. So when we talk about mock scenarios, we're going to get through kind of a step-by-step actionables in the next slides, but just want to call that out. Questions and answers, making sure that it's so critical that we have prepared questions that we can't just find or Google online or look on the company's website, right? So making sure that we're well prepared before the interview, that we know who we're interviewing with, we have questions that make sense to ask. So a recruiter might have, I list some questions, I believe, towards the end of our workshop, questions to ask recruiters versus questions to ask hiring managers, because we don't want to bog down the hiring manager if we could simply just ask our point of contact, right? So knowing the type of questions to ask and being thoughtful in the process can really help ensure you have a positive impression during the job interview itself. And also being proactive and showing that you're organized, motivated, and passionate about landing the opportunity. So again, whether that's a W-2, full-time with benefits, or a 1099, making sure that we're excited and interested, and we're qualified, and that we have the energy to really show up. It's one thing to be face-to-face. It's another thing to be on the phone or on like a Zoom or a Teams or go to meeting kind of a thing. And then the last one here is follow-ups and thank yous. So it's important to remember that interview follow-up and thank yous are essential. So not just for recruiters, but also hiring managers. Back in the day, I used to actually write, when we had physical offices, I would write thank you notes and send it to the corporate office. And then once I was hired, this happened multiple times, they would have it, the hiring manager would have it on her bulletin board or his bulletin board. Just doing something a little unique and different to stand out versus just blending in like, oh, I think that was a slam dunk, I got the job. Thinking, what else can I do for that hiring team or that point of contact to kind of put a smile on their face. And I even had one person send me, I think, edible arrangements, which isn't, that's not cheap. So I thought that was pretty neat when I had a candidate interview for our HR team back in the day. When she sent the edible arrangements, I was like, that was just so thoughtful. Again, if you want to send follow-up and thank yous to recruiters, hiring managers, and your employee referrals. So these are some of the top 5 steps of how to land the interviews and get connections, and where should you invest your time as far as like a game plan and blueprint. And then once you do have it scheduled, and you hopefully can automate that, getting prepared, etc. So I'm going to kind of walk you through that next. Again, if there's any questions, feel free to drop them. And thank you all for joining. All right, so next is the interview process and timeline. So think about the game plan. So each and every week, I was trying to decide, do I break this down into like weekly versus daily? But I think this just helps because some people might not be available to do this each and every day. So just think of this per week. Once you land this awesome opportunity with a great company or this great client, you don't have to worry about this, but this is on your priority to-do list for the time being. So networking, I would say at least 15 new connections and notes per week. So when you do the search on LinkedIn, you can filter it by people and send a connection request versus an in-mail. In-mails you have to pay for unless you are able to connect with the individual. If you send a connect, it's 300 out of 300 characters. And I typically provide my clients with like a quick template that they can plug and play and quickly get those networking calls. Those would probably be like a 15, 20 minute, you could put on the calendar, kind of like a meet and greet. Again, recruiters, employer referrals, or team members or leaders at the company, whether it's within the team or outside of the team, just to kind of get a feel of the culture, the vibe, the opportunities that they might have available. Next up, we have marketing. So that visibility piece is posting organic or repurposed. This might sound high, but 2 to 4 times per week. So I was just telling another client, it's one thing to do a post. It's another thing to turn on your creator mode where you could do lives, post newsletter, etc. So that may be a little aggressive depending if you're working or not, but just again, SEO shooting to kind of start those conversations. And the more that you do it at and then a person and kind of connect them into the conversation, the better. And if you're sharing a link, do that under the comment section to direct people if there's any like call to action. And then schedule interviews. The goal is to try your best to start getting some good momentum 1 to 2 times per week. And again, to automate, I use Calendly.com. I'll put that here in the chats. Let me just look here. But there's others, but they have a free version that I think I paid $12.99. It gives like email and text reminders. And then I would always print the job description, try and do a mock scenario, whether I have clients that hire me one-on-one for interview prep, mock scenarios, or case studies. So making sure, think of the job description as just like on dating sites, compatibility, showing you're a match. The goal with your personal brand, resume, cover letter, LinkedIn is to show that we're compatible. So think of the case study is kind of thinking out loud. If they want to know about people leadership, what are 1 or 2 examples of your people leadership? When did you hire, train, lead, or mentor individuals, and how many? I'm all about metrics. You know, how many people, what's the budget, what's the revenue, what's the cost savings, etc. So the more that you can paint that picture, the color and context, the better. And then interview. So thinking of the interview, what is the challenges that the employer is having that we're trying to solve? How can we add value and serve? How can we show up with the STAR method as in the case study example? What is the situation? What is the task, the action, and the result? So this is typically if you're having more behavioral, a lot of times employers are doing like behavioral questions, whether they're hiring a W-2 or 1099, and they want to know that you can handle the work, that you can add value. So thinking about having some of those, so it's a little bit more conversational and improv if you've actually thought through this process versus it being the very first time that you're having this conversation. And then follow-ups and thank yous. I would say rule of thumb, best practice is within 72 hours. And then people are like, oh, I don't want to bug the recruiter. I say once a week, every week until you get a no or get a response on like if we're moving forward. Otherwise, you're going to get lost in the shuffle. There could be many other people being considered for the role. So you definitely want to make sure that you are the one in communication and you're enthusiastic and excited about the opportunity. Okay. Then we go to interview prep. So what to prepare. So research interviewers via LinkedIn, like I mentioned earlier, prior to interview. Connect and note with the 300 characters max. Having a little template in your notepad, digitalize is making your life so much easier. And I think you either get like 50 or 100 free connection and notes. And once they connect with you, you get like unlimited conversation. So you don't even have to worry about emails. It kind of opens up the opportunity to have conversation. We talked about printing the job description or at least having it on the digital version. It's good to like take notes. I like the printed one to take notes, but otherwise digital is like right there near maybe your Zoom or your Teams window. Goal is again to find a match and show compatibility is so helpful. And then behavioral interview case studies. We talked about the STAR method. Thinking about and asking those probing questions. What are your challenges? What are your pain points? What is the ROI? Why would they want to hire you versus the next person? What makes you stand out uniquely different? Okay. Having great questions, not just ones that are like random questions, but like intentional questions that you really are curious about. Like, what is the supervisor's like management style or leadership style? Are they a servant leader or not? You know, talking about the team and the growth of the team, and maybe if somebody left in the role previously, why did somebody leave? What were some of the challenges they experienced? So I have a list of questions you can totally use and maybe do like a screenshot as well might be helpful. And then some other little side notes is hair, makeup, nails, attire, business professional, not over the top. So for men and women, typically, obviously, if you're on virtual, halfway up, definitely first impression is going to be so important. Less is best and natural, I should say, is definitely great if you're comfortable with that. And definitely if you're on video, I would say less patterns, more solid colors, etc. And calming colors that's not too like vibrant and crazy. And let's see, thank you email. So if you want to take a quick picture, these are some of the examples I give my clients of what you can send recruiters and what you can send hiring managers as follow-up. that would be helpful for you to have as well. I know we have about 10 minutes remaining. I was just going to do 30 minutes here for the workshop today. So let me see. I'll open up for Q&A then. But here's some questions you can ask recruiters versus hiring managers. So hopefully this list, if you want to do a quick print screen, may be helpful. You can customize it to your liking. But this is always helpful just to have in your back pocket. Maybe you ask, 3 to 5 questions. Don't bombard them. And they might have already answered a number of these, but it's always good to be prepared for sure. And then conclusion. So as job seekers proceed through the job search process, we want to make sure, or I want to make sure that you're well prepared. So doing some research on, again, the job descriptions, the companies, the interviewers is so helpful, and making sure that we show gratitude and we're thankful for the opportunity to meet with these individuals and for the connections that we have, starting from networking to visibility with marketing, all the way to scheduling, et cetera, and follow-up thank yous, and that includes your Q&A. So next steps, if you would love to learn more about community memberships, digital courses, and one-on-one coaching services, eventually I will have some group programs going out as well. I would invite you to schedule a Dr. Jenna chat, which is a small group, typically less than 5 people, where we have conversations. For executives, I do have a separate link, but typically people watching these workshops are more of my entry-level professionals, my entrepreneurs, and my mid to senior level experts and managers. So hope this is helpful. This is my contact information here. I'll open up any questions. We did really well. That was 21 minutes. I hope you found some great value in this mini workshop. And then I'll be back bi-weekly, so in 2 weeks for Q&A. So definitely bring your hot questions. And then I do have to see, I wanted to take a look. Let me see here. For next month's workshop, let me take a look here and I'll check the date. I think it's actually at the end of March, since this is a longer month. Yeah, so today's March 8th, interview prep, Q&A is March 22nd, then April 5th, I have how to prepare for an offer negotiation. Okay, so that will be good. So then we'll be able to look forward to that as well. Well, very good. Let me see here. I appreciate everybody hopping on. I could always answer questions in the comment section if there are some additional questions. I appreciate everyone joining today. I hope you have a great rest of your week. And again, happy International Women's Day. Take care.